Jones comes in with a triple. He just gonna kill his own teammate, but it doesn't really matter right now. Jones just still going. He finds 3 as well. He do the smoke and finds 2. That might just be it for EU's finest. Disgusting from Dragons. Lovely stuff from Sergio. Oh my god. Saki, TJ and Breaker, you'll go back to the respawn team. Oh my god, Breaker finds 3. TJ just finds 3 massive kills for his team. Do not adjust your watches. It is this time, 7:45, and yes, we only are just getting into the second game. We did see a map number 3 in Europe for the first time in the Pro League, and we're into the final week. Typical, isn't it? You get all the way through without seeing one. We got last week. It's like buses. You don't see any for ages and too long. It's not really the same thing.
It might be.
It's maybe. It might be like buses. Who knows?
We'll see soon.
Who knows between Elevate and Regal Reserve. Typically, EU's finest bogey team in Europe have been Regal Reserve. Not so much this Pro League so far. Of course, we have seen them face each other. Regal Reserve, maybe not at the races as we so often have seen them in Europe, but Elevate looking very, very solid, looking to go undefeated this Pro League.
That's it. They're here to cement that flawless record. They've been fantastic over the last 5 weeks of play. They've, done everything basically in their power to make sure they do come through with, a full sweep, no losses. They're going in against the 3rd best team in the European Pro League right now. Chances are they're going to come out and will win the series, but it's the 2-0 that matters to them. I believe at least they'll want to go out and they want to make sure that they're 12-0.
100%. This Elevate team have just been phenomenal all season long. We've seen them, flutter with danger now and then last season. They lost to Rated R in week number 1. They had a couple of very close games this season, though. Different story. They have been dominant, it has to be said. And honestly, not really any flaws from me. I think, every now and then they maybe probably just play in second gear, but then suddenly when they're in a losing position or a round away from losing a map, they just flick it up a couple of switches, don't they? And suddenly they seem like unbeatable in Europe. This team have been so, so good and will really want to avenge a bad result in San Diego. They had a horrible placement for themselves, at least anyway, and they will want to make sure that they are in. I mean, they want to be talked about in that conversation of top 4 teams in the world. They were very far away from that in San Diego, and actually the team that did put them out of the tournament was Regal Reserve. So I'm wondering, when we go into this one, will Regal Reserve want to be putting the pressure on as we're going into these events? Like, we are here. I don't know if they are, though. This season, for me, they have been nearly as bad as OB Alliance down there. I think there is a very small gap between them, but I think there is a big gap between Regal Reserve and OB and the rest of the Pro League. However, can they turn it when it matters? We've seen OB hadn't won a map until this week. Gets to the last week, a week before Mexico, where the practice really does need to be dialed in. Can this be the time that they start getting some more wins on the board here, Regal Reserve? They are solidified in 3rd, but can they gain some confidence with a win over Elevate?
Yeah, I believe if they play to their game, there is chance for Regal to come through and get a win here. But honestly, it's a very tough task for your final matchup against any team in the Pro League. You really probably wouldn't want it to be Elevate that week before the major, but at the end of things, it doesn't really matter for them placement-wise. So they can go out, they can have fun, they can play the game how they want to play it. And honestly, 3 out of the 5 members of this Regal Reserve roster have been around for eons. Essentially, they're all old, ancient, and they're all in Gears terms they are though.
You're all old.
But let me finish. What I'm gonna say is yes, they're old and ancient, but throughout every iteration of Gears that these guys have played in, they've always been at the top. They're always in the top 2 or 3 teams. And even Fractures and Cougars back on Gears 4 were up there as well.
100%.
These are winning players. They know how to get to that top level of an event, whether it's online like this, whether it's at LAN like Mexico. They know what it takes. So don't write them out, is all I'm saying. They've got the pedigree. They just haven't brought it this last 6 weeks.
And, on LAN, they have a 1-0 record over Elevate, so they'll be confident either way. But let's have a look at the last time they did meet in week number 1. It was a 2-0 for Elevate. A close one, 5-2, 5-4 though. So, it wasn't out of the questions. But I want to say that when we seen Regal Reserve at the beginning of the Pro League, we were like, Regal Reserve looked pretty decent. However, things have slipped a little bit. Is it maybe their matchup against Elevate? Is it maybe that's just one of those games that is always going to be close? Or have they slipped? That's what we will find out here. But Crimson's a 4.06 in that one. Was a big, big reason as to why Elevate won.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't get that. We're definitely seeing him out number 3 at least.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you can see right here, he's leaps and bounds ahead of his team and the opposition there.
Everybody, yeah.
And honestly, that's been the case throughout the whole Pro League for Crimsons. That's not an out of worldly stat line for Crimsons. No. It's kind of average.
It was crazed last season,
weird.
wasn't it? It was crazed last season. This season, though, Crimson's has been incredible.
Absolutely so.
I mean, look at all the stats there. I mean, obviously, he's the first one in because the amount of breaks. The most breaks on his team, the most eliminations, the most KD. Yes, okay, we're talking about in terms of, just one game. But it's such a big factor, the fact that he's the first man in.
Yep. Yeah, it's so difficult for. I mean, honestly, he's just been fantastic. There's nothing else we can really dive into to say he's having a fantastic team with a fantastic game with a fantastic team around him. For me, though, it's the other side of things that you got to look at. Reader had a poor start to this Pro League. Last week, he actually had a very good set of games, as did Cougars,
last time
as did Zorkos, and honestly, they've actually stepped it up in my opinion since this series. To say that Icebound was 5-4 and so close.
And you have two players barely on a one.
And yeah, you are getting outslayed pretty heavily. You've done something right there.
Yeah.
So if they can take this and not look at it as a too big of a negative, and also can look at how they've increased their performance over the last couple of weeks, I don't think it's out of the question for Regal to take a map, but it is honestly on Elevate's plate whether or not they do play properly, whether or not they take this as seriously as they have been doing the last 5 weeks, and whether or not they just perform like they have. We saw the stat lines. It's going to be difficult to top a 4.0.
Yeah, it is going to be very, very difficult. But it wouldn't be out of the question for Crimson's, would it? The way that he's been playing this season. But let's have a look at the picks and bads. Let's have a look to see how they are going to lie. Exhibit gone, not a shock whatsoever.
No,
Icebound gone from Elevate, again, not a surprise. After the close one last time round, it doesn't really surprise me. Elevate then getting to pick Asylum is a bad thing for Regal, I feel. District coming in for Regal Reserve. Don't know if I love it or hate it. What are we saying?
I mean, it's
hard to say. They haven't played each other on it. I haven't seen Regal be great on it.
It's one of Regal's better maps.
Yeah.
At the moment, which is not saying a lot.
It's spiraling towards the game against Rated L where they got smoked on it, if I remember rightly. I think it was a 5-0, so that's maybe why I'm thinking it's not great for them. So Elevate will probably take that as well. If Asgard Training Grounds go, Bunker will be the final map, which again I like for Elevate. I just don't see this going any other direction. I am more sure about this 2-0 than I was about the OB Rated L game.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think this is a very good pick and ban here for Elevate.
Yeah.
Exhibit was no surprise, to be honest with you.
But that's the thing. When you're going in against Elevate, you know how good they are. It's an auto ban.
Yeah.
And you don't really have... It sort of takes something away. When you have a crutch ban in any veto process, if you play any game whatsoever, it automatically puts you at a disadvantage. You automatically say, I'm never playing them in this map. Then Elevate know you're going to ban it. They can work around that and sort of dictate the rest of it. They did that. They've got a good map set. I don't see them. If we played all three maps, I think they'd win all three.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, who'd be betting against them to win all three?
I don't think that's a bold statement. To be fair,
I think this map set does lead itself to Elevate for sure. But honestly, whatever map came up there, I'd probably be thinking the same.
True.
Yeah, Elevate probably gonna take this one.
I'm leaning towards Elevate more than I would have before I've seen these maps. I think they're very, very good maps for them.
That's understandable.
I think that's fair to say. But Zorkos and Crazed are your two to watch out for, though. Crazed has been somebody who, bizarrely, at a 3.21, has not been as good as Crimson's, crazily, in terms of the KDA. I think top of my head, I want to say that it is Crimson's at the top, is it?
It is.
Yeah, that was easy enough, considering he's put up like a 5.6 1 week. I mean, what's the reason between this? Are these the two, the two Zorkos, that can step up above and beyond?
Well, Zorkos last week was the MVP and you didn't give it him, so I thought I'll put his face here and give him the limelight. No, that's not the reason. But honestly, I wanted to put Zorkos here because he has had a couple of very good weeks. And honestly, stat line wise, he's the best on Regal Reserve pretty much in every category. He's been a very flashy player. He's made some good kills, some good plays throughout the league, and I just thought I'd give him the limelight for a change because he doesn't often get it, and he's been very consistent.
You felt sorry for him.
I did feel sorry for him.
That's what we're saying.
And I couldn't put... honestly, like, his stat line is the best, so fair play to Zorkos. On the other side, Crazed, again, we've talked a lot about him, but we've not given him much of, the time on broadcast here, so I thought, let's bring Crazed on for the final series. He had a fantastic fourth-quarter. He's carried it on. Yes, Crimson is outperforming, but that's not to say Crazed has dipped at all. He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And look at that elimination, 28.1 per game. His breaks and caps are pretty much bang even, but the KDA is so far above average that, yes, he deserves his place here, and he's a one to watch. He's a fantastic player to keep an eye on.
And I think, you look at even the rest of the team there as well, though. You got Crimson's Craze who are constantly doing it, but the rest of the boys always seem to be there, not far behind. But it is always Crimson's and Craze at the top. We know the eliminations are fully in their camp. And that's what they're there to do. They're there to slay as best they can. The rest of the team are just the glue that holds it all together, potentially the final pieces of the puzzle. But Asylum, District, and Bunker is the order we will see the maps in. I don't think we see Bunker, in all fairness. I think this is 2-0. I think in pretty convincing fashion as well.
Yep.
Unless Regal really, really turn up. But I don't know. I look at that Elevate roster and I just struggle to... There isn't a weakness in Europe, at least anyway.
No, it's very true.
Jack's been consistent. Phelpsy's been consistent. Hydron has been popping off when he needs to.
They've been around long enough together now as well that they're very, very well gelled. A lot of people actually said, when Jack came into this roster, when Marsh left, that perhaps he's not a good enough replacement.
He's been consistent.
I think he's proven everyone wrong.
I don't think he's as flashy as Marsh, but I think he's consistent. He's consistent.
I think for this team, he works very, very well. There's the stats, 100% win record, 63% round record. Can't complain at that. And yeah, I think you're right. I think every single member of this Elevate roster is fantastic. And yeah, any team would be scared to come up against them in Mexico.
Nice shots onto Hydron there. Cougars is going to clean that one up though as we do kick things off. Jack is going to drop as well. And I will say that Elevate last time around when they did play a rated R in this one, they lost the first round, but they then also won the next 5 out of the next 6. So maybe not the best round 1 team Elevate, but they really know how to turn it on these later rounds when the respawns are quick. But either way, Regal Reserve will get 2 kills. They will get beat as their reward for it. But Elevate up top bridge looking towards an A push.
Yep, that they are. That they are indeed. Regal did well to open that up, but I think we saw it actually against, was it Rated R or Obey? One of the other teams that Elevate played where they just completely trapped the opposing team in the middle square. And that for me was the mark of a very good team thinking on the fly. How do we get the best out of this situation? We bait a team in, we trap them in, we get them from all angles with those incendiaries as that area denial tool. And I'll be expecting something similar here from Elevate actually, to see if they start to play the map a little bit different, a little bit more clever than the opposing team.
I mean, that is one thing. For all that they have the skill, they have the wits as well, don't they, Elevate? They're very much, being one of these teams who, if they can't beat you to a pulp, they'll try and outsmart you. And they're very good at doing both these things. Right now, though, they're being forced to leave B. Train coming in on Hydron, which you'll just think to yourself, well, that's typical, isn't it? That's the only bit of cover that I've got, and he has to run straight into that. Cougars is going to kill Physics, though, after he did down Hydron. So a 1-for-1, if you like. But B, once again, does belong to Regal Reserve.
Yep, but even still, we say all that, and look at the points. Still in Elevate's favour. It seems like Regal have had this B capture for a long time now. And
what do I say every single week?
Yep.
We play 6 or 7 rounds of Gears of War, and it doesn't matter which direction it goes, doesn't matter how many kills both teams get, Elevate always win.
Yep, it's very true. But for once, they've actually got to try and make this play now. They've got to try and figure a way out. They've got about 40 seconds to do so if they break the mid. And they've got a bit more time, so they are going to be able to break that. About 80 seconds now. And the fight is going to go down at B Hill. Looks like we do see Zorkos and Cougars. They're going to fall. Crimson's cleaning up both of those. Hydron's got this middle covered as well, so Reader can't push up.
Can't push through the middle anyway, but is going to back on down to help his team. Help Physics as best it can. He has been spotted, though, looking to maybe try and surprise some members of Elevate, but they're a team who are not easily caught off guard. Fractures in the worst spot possible. He will go down as well. Looking like it will eventually go over towards Elevate, but one final fight for Regal Reserve to try and win. If you're Elevate, you have to be careful here, though. You lose this fight, there is potential to lose the round, but lose the fight is something they're never really going to do, in all honesty. Elevate eventually do come out as winners of round number 1.
A nice push down towards that train. It secured that for them, really. Didn't give Regal enough time to come back and fight through it, and they did well, actually, just to collapse on all of the single opportunities that they managed to find there. We saw Reader getting caught out in the middle. There was no one from his team there to help extract. In the end as well, Fractures got caught on that mid-bridge, and that's just good play by Elevate, just to make sure they're doing it slowly, methodically, but always pushing forwards, always trying to gain something for their last kill. How do we convert this into something else? And they always convert it, and they always end up snowballing that into a win, usually, at least.
What would be past a win, if a win is at least?
At least? I don't know. 2 wins.
I'm sorry, I tried to throw you under the bus there. Here we are. It's the final week. I've got to, you got that Mexico announcement. I don't want to go into your head.
Oh, hey, I don't know how that
happened. You
happened.
back in, haven't I?
Not a clue how that happened. But we'll
maybe it's just your duo. Maybe they're saying, wow, he's just really flourished next to that tongue guy.
So, one day you'll be out there with me.
One day, maybe.
We can skip down the Mexican Boulevard. arm in arm.
The Mexican Boulevard.
I'm sure they've got them.
I'm sure they do, but that was just maybe he's a weird pointer. I mean, there's so many other different stereotypical things you could have went down there.
That's why I didn't go down them.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, Elevate though, round number 1 is well and truly in their favour. They're looking to try and get some control of B. The train arriving on time for Regal Reserve though. This ain't the British line, I'll tell you that. Jack though. Oh, I mean, somehow dodging all of these shots, but here come the rest of Regal Reserve. Looking to get hold of B. They are going to win the first gunfight onto Jack. Crimson's finds one. Can he find anything else? No, he cannot. Hydron's the only one who can. Zolkos is going to take him down. B not going to belong to anybody. I mean, suddenly, it's looking like a potential domination going to run on through, but not going to happen as Elevate win the gunfights over towards B. Maybe a push towards A is what's next in line. And I think what Elevate do fantastically is stay alive, and they wait on backup coming up from their team as well. Crazy was in and around here having a fight. He's backed out. He's got the kill on the Cougars. He's waited for the rest of his team who've dissipated Regal Reserve in B in the control of Elevate.
You say that, and I think that's definitely true. But against you know, your top North American Pro League teams, I'm looking at the likes of kind of Reciprocity. They won't give you that time, right? So that's when it actually gets difficult for Elevate, because then they have to make those plays on their own against. You know, all things considered, lesser opponents, lesser skilled opponents, they are definitely allowed that time, which is a shame actually for Elevate, because when they have that time, they look like the best team globally, in my opinion. Slightly biased, but they do. They look very, very good. It's just when they get put on the ropes, can they still perform at that level? We'll soon see. Cougars gets absolutely run over.
Zolkos, you can't roll backwards yet. You got to go forward, and you got to keep shooting. He does that, and everybody dropping. Well done to Zolkos there. 6 and 3 into him. They may be 2 of the most important kills you'll find all day. Is this maybe a route back in for Regal? Not quite. Swarm win condition off 1 cap. Elevate will be smiling at that one, knowing they just need to keep a hold of A, but we know them. They will push for more. Zolkos, good shots onto Jack. Will drop him once again with the help of Fractures. Will eventually clean that one up, but it's only 1 kill, and you still need to decap A for at least a momentary amount of time.
And you know what? There's a potential for Reader there to push up and fight a 1v1. If he wins that, then he's got that A hill pretty much free. I don't know what happened there.
I mean, Hydron's kill. Oh,
here we
God.
go. This could be it.
Fractures and Reader, though, have done the work they needed to. A has been decapped, so here we go. It comes down to this fight. Zolkos in there against Crimsons, and Jackfex has Cougars with him as well. Jack needs to get close. He needs to survive as best he can. The domination has been denied momentarily. Staying alive as best he can. Where's the rest of the team? Here they come. He stayed alive long enough. Phelps is the first one through the door. He goes down. Hydro, the second one here. Crazed has already went towards B, but nobody's there to maybe keep it long enough, and he can't quite get there. That's a round win for Regal Reserve from the Ashes. In all honesty, it was looking like an Elevate cruise, if anything, but in the end, Regal getting it done in the final couple of seconds.
And that's just that team kill that just opens up a 5v4 right on the ropes. In the end, Elevate do fall. That was a nice play by Regal though. They guarded that ring well. They didn't overcommit too much to defending the ring. They chased the kills. They managed to get the kills.
And Crazed makes that push over towards E instead.
Yep. There's not enough people
B
to
instead,
fight.
which I agree with. He just needs the rest of his team to maybe 1 more second. The Hydron gets in there and survives, and suddenly Elevate can probably still win that off of 1 cap. He knows that was smart play in the end, but couldn't quite get it done. Regal Reserve will win the round. And one that didn't really look likely for them, it has to be said, but here we are. Elevate will be disappointed they're not 2-0 up.
Yep, Incense now down as well for Elevate, so this is actually pretty staple for them. We do see Phelpsy picking this Incense up in this exact same position quite often. He's going to try and just cut off that mid route. Does he hit? Oh, almost hit the Zorkos.
It's going to force him away though.
Yep, gets enough damage down as well to open up a kill for Hydron there.
I think it was actually Phelpsy who got the drop in the end, so doing very, very well.
Yep.
B and C will be in control. Physics has to run away with his tail between his legs. Just surviving though, which is important. Now here comes the push from Regal Reserve. Are Elevate aware of it? Yes, they are. They're back on up. They lance it down. Reader now pushing through another angle that the shots are going to be coming in from. Well set up by Elevate. They knew exactly what Regal were going to do. But can they counteract that here? They already have started well. Fractures and Zolkos trying to push on through. They will find the kill onto Jackfex. Elevate have backed on down here. But the thing is, they've overextended towards A as well. Elevate, they see you moving one way, they just move another. Yes, okay, and they can win those gunfights, but Hydron is overextended over towards A. Now, if you are Regal Reserve, you have to come back, you have to fight that, and ultimately, you're probably going to lose C. You didn't get a hold of it. Yes, okay, you've got A, you've got B. But Elevate adapted to that situation quite well. But Regal Reserve did come out with something.
Yep, and they're going to get their A hill back now. Honestly, if they'd have just rotated around and managed to get to this B hill, they've probably done the right thing here. Elevate still have a massive point lead, though. And again, Regal, they're going to be posed with that question. How do we degrade this point league? How do we get back into it?
Cougars,
2-cap is a good start.
Cougars loves dying. It's that same old story.
Yep, that's true. It's very true.
He likes getting sticky, it has to be said. Keep an eye on him, though, because if he goes down suddenly, it's a 5v4. And only in round number 3. I'm interested, actually. A 1.83 average, so not setting the world on fire at all, but he's somebody who likes the interactions, doesn't he?
Yes.
He likes to get in there, he likes to fight. That's where his strength lies, but if you're coming up against opposition who can do that to you, suddenly you're in a bad spot. But the overextension over towards C is what's coming in for Regal. Threatening the domination here. Where are Elevate? It seemed as if no kills have really come in across the map, but suddenly Regal Reserve are in control. By saying that, the kills start to come in. But this time it is in Elevate's favour.
It is indeed, and now B hill, that's going to be the next point of contact, I think. Zorkos is going to get forced off that cover as the Incendiary comes in, and now we see Physics, he's going to move up to support. This is not bad positioning, actually, from Regal. They've got a route down to that middle. Physics got to be careful here, he doesn't get lanced and angled out, but he should be okay with Zorkos sat so far up. Jump on board with Jack, see what he's aiming at. He can't quite see Zorkos because of the giant pillar.
Push over towards C, coming in here for Regal Reserve as well. They need to win those gunfights, but unfortunately for them, it seems as if they're losing most of them. Not going in their favour this time round, though, as Regal do get a couple. B, he's going to go over towards Elevate. Anybody at the home hill? Not quite. Regal Reserve in the winning position here. C is something they need to break. Cougars now. Not much of the round left and not much health left as he backs away 30%. But Elevate, you need to do something quickly. I think a 1-cap will do it now. For Regal Reserve, Zorkos is there and waiting. I don't think it's going to matter. The domination's not going to come through for Elevate. That's what they need. Regal Reserve are going to take a 2-1 lead here now. They just sort of grinded that one out. They just rotated them.
Yep.
They just out-rotated them.
They did. They had some fantastic rotations. They held that ground down at the railway as well for so long. And Zorkos, 14-6, is leading the pack. No surprise. We highlighted him in that head-to-head. Has had a few fantastic weeks, actually, and still continuing that now. Let's have a look at what the teams are placing down. Zorkos is going to be on the sticks now. See what he upgrades. It's going to be the Incendiary, actually, on the entrance side this time. So a little bit of difference here between both Elevate and Regal. Opting both to go for the Incendiaries, but different placements. Perhaps the Incendiary up on the bridge side, something a little bit more unusual. You usually see the shock grenade up there. But Incendiary definitely works out if you can connect with it.
Right, can Elevate get themselves back into this one? As you see at the top of your screen there, lives will reset at the end of this round, so Cougars. It's the last one you've got to really play a little bit safe, although knowing him, he probably will just continue to play aggressively. This big fight in the middle, though, is all going in the way of Elevate. They are just raining that Lancer fire in like fish, literally in a barrel. Everybody dying. Zorkos is the only one to answer back against Jack, who seems to be the only person that is dying for Elevate. He's dying quite a bit for Elevate, it has to be said, but they won't be too concerned. They walk away with the spoils of A and B. And everything else that they wanted, really. They get control, and this is where they're hard to beat. When they get clear control, they can get set up.
Yep.
This is what's so hard to push if you're Regal.
Crazed. He's going to hold this mid. And for Regal as well, the train's come just at the wrong time. It's going to put a bit of a halt on their push right now. We see Reader. He's going to throw in. Incendiary's poor, to be honest with you. He's done well, actually, to get out with his life, but the power up and usage not very well there at all. We see Regal, Fractures, and Physics. They're pushing up, trying to make a play on Hydro now. But Hydro is probably one of the most difficult players on this team to push, actually.
Oh, and they pushed Hydro, and it's allowed Jack just to rain some Lancer fire in.
I don't think Zorkos got the memo just to back off there either. Good kill by Physics. Will trade out.
It's the only one to answer back. Fractures did survive, but while all that is going on, Crimson's is rotated around towards C. Hydron on 0 respawns, but looking at Cougars. In that little time that we've already played in this round, he is done. He is out. This is a 5v4 for Elevate for quite some time. Hydron, I said, has to be careful with his life, but the rest of the team are here to do the fighting for him. They're keeping a hold of C here. Phelpsy and Crazed picking up the kill onto Fractures. Crimson's going to get some shots on the back coming through here. The pushes come through. They ignore Crazed completely. Look at the flashes, though, coming out of Elevate. They're just going to back on down. They know A and B is enough. They know they're in a 5v4. No need to push that one too far.
Not at all. They've got the points for it. That's all they were there for. The points lead is huge now. And now Regal, once again, questions asked. Can they break it? Can they overcome such a huge point lead? They've managed to before. Let's have a look what Jack does. He's a bit far back at the moment,
okay,
so just trying to get a bit of damage down. I think if they get the down, then they push for the incendiary kill. It's a bit easier to get that double or something off.
So ANC in the hands of Regal Reserve, but they do need to at least decap B. And that's in a 4v5. Hydron just playing his life safely over towards the train tracks. I'd imagine he's the second one over there. And look, it's just always thinking one step ahead if you're Elevate. Alright, we know they're going to push B. Why don't we send a couple of guys over towards C? Fractures is pushing Hydron because he knows he's on 0 respawns, has to back on down. The push is then going to come through. But either way, C is going to go in the hands of Elevate with B combined and all the kills in their favour momentarily. Elevate will walk away as winners of that round at the halfway point. It is 2 apiece. Just well played. They know where the threat's going to come, and they just out-rotate them again. Hydron and Phelps just playing their lives very, very nicely and rotating rounds towards C, and ultimately they didn't even need it in the end.
I like what Elevate are doing here with these incendiaries. It's something they do pretty much every game. That it's not a massive thing, but it's just something that gets them a big point lead. They use the incendiaries to hold the mid ground because they basically just give it up every time. They just give up that mid channel and just let the other team take it. While there's not a power weapon there, they're not actually gaining anything for it, as long as Elevate don't push one of the sides. If you push one side and not both, you're gonna get killed off. But if you don't push either, wait for the incens to come up. You can hold it. You can trap them in there. And whilst they're doing that, Crimson's is always getting that cap off spawn, and that's the big thing. That's the difference. You can see this time around, Regal have changed things up a bit. They've gone for their home hill because the sides have switched. But that was why Elevate were getting such a big point lead the previous rounds. They just had a huge point lead off that single cap.
Speaking of using their incense, well, they've used their shot grenades very well there as well. That's a couple of downs coming through for Elevate. Physics has been in that rough position for quite some time now. The domination ticking on through. It has to be an E-push coming out of Regal Reserve. Cougar's going to find one kill out of Crimson's. Can he find the second? Phelpsy drops Zorkos. Physics is already dead. Zorkos going to bleed out. Cougars is now dead as well. The domination ticking on through. They should be able to get over towards D. Just about for Regal. But they're fighting with their backs against the wall all the way through now. The push over towards D is going to keep on coming. Fractures is there to try and shut it down. He will go down. Is that enough time for the rest of the team to come off a respawn? Physics is there once again. They may just slow down Elevate here, but they are in a commanding position once again here, Fru.
Yep, Elevate, they want to back off here, and they want to start to transition this into just defending the 2 hills that they've got, getting a few more kills on the board, because at the moment they're in a good place life-wise. They've got 3 lives each. They don't want to be losing too many on a risky fight down at that D hill. They're just going to back up, wait for Regal to come up. Regal will have to kind of blow a grenade or 2 to try and take this, and then the re-attempt can come back in from Elevate once things are back even again. Jack, he's going to back out in a second. Good lance fire from Crimson to down Cougars as well.
Shots coming in.
Yep, and this is the power of that middle route. You can see there are shots coming in from down here. Crimson's in the middle. That makes it so difficult to push up. That's why Elevate can sit so far back and just pepper away with these lancers and get the downs.
There's not many teams in Europe. There's no teams better in Europe better at doing this. Sitting back, working on your team Lancer Fire. It's a big reason as why we see so many inflated KDs coming out of them as well.
100%.
Is the fact that, you know, it's obviously it's KDA, so any assists count towards that number. Oh, hello. Fracture's coming in here to surprise. He may have not needed to do it, in all honesty, and that's going to be an F capture. It's not going to be enough. I honestly would have liked to see them decap and just rush over towards E as quickly as possible there. And they're going to capture it. And now they rotate over towards E, but the reinforcements for Elevate maybe there. Fracture's trying to come around behind, gets caught off guard. Has to back on down.
And that's just miscommunication, in my opinion, because the people on the bridge should have been able to see Jack hiding away in the office there. So should have known, Fracture should have known that there was someone in there. In the end, doesn't really matter. They've done okay. Effil is going to go back to Elevate, but look at the point lead, 100 points again.
Crazed. Finds kill on Arita. That 100 points might not matter, though, if Regal Reserve continue to walk through Elevate here. A couple of kills going in their favour. But the overextension from Crimson's.
Look who it is.
It's always there. Is he going to hold them off here as well? He may do. And he's just leaving enough time down, and there's somebody at E as well. They must be so frustrating to play against Elevate. E is now over towards Jackfex, and now that's going to leave time for the rest of his team to overextend towards E. It sometimes looks like they're really holding on, but it's all like... It's all just a step ahead. They just seem to be a step ahead at times of these teams in Europe, and ultimately that's probably what's going to win them this round unless Zokas and Physics can go crazy. Elevate have played that so well. They played it so well.
Yep, and that's the power, isn't it? That's the power of Elevate. They always find a route through to just get behind you, and it's the last second you think, oh yes, we've locked in the domination, and oh, there's Crimson's on my home hill. Of course he is. How has he slipped through the net?
Why is he on my home hill?
Yeah.
How has he got there?
It's every time as well. You think people will start to... But he just wins the 1v as well, that's the other thing.
Wins a 1v, gets away, and suddenly...
Yep, it's gone, isn't it? It's incredible, but... Fair play. He finds it, and it's consistent as well. So it's definitely the right way to play it.
They do it quite a lot. They do it quite a lot. If they feel as they just distribute their resources so well.
Yep.
They just know where somewhere isn't guarded, or if they are going to get pushed, where the other team are coming from. It's like they're predicting everyone very easily, and it shows 3-2.
That's the map awareness coming through there. Just knowing exactly where the other team are putting their resources, right? They just know exactly where people are rotating from and to, and how many are there, how much time they've got to make a certain play, and in the end, they've almost got it nailed down. There are a couple of occurrences where you see it. Okay, maybe timing was off, or someone slipped the net, but in general, it's almost flawless.
I think their only complaint would potentially, as the shot grenade comes in, is that they shouldn't be finding themselves in that situation where they have to do that, but it's nice to know that you have that clutch factor. We've talked about it all season. There's been a couple of occasions where they've been a round away from losing a map, and suddenly it's like, click.
Yep.
And they just go.
Well, I think
they just hold it down.
Against Rated R, on this map specifically, the one thing that they were finding difficult was that Marsh and Paynes were finding themselves under the bridge, right? They were doing that flank underneath the bridge and then coming around behind them. And that was catching them off guard. But once they realised that was happening, then they started to allocate a resource to track that specific play. Yep. And they do it dynamically, which is the most impressive thing for me. It's not something that they've kind of drilled down. It's, okay, this is happening in this specific game. This is how we counter it. And they still do it flawlessly, even to that degree. And that's why they win so many matches. You kind of have to do a different thing every round to beat them. And that's a very difficult task, especially in escalation, because you place a weapon down, you're kind of committing to that for at least a couple of rounds. So it's difficult to really to throw surprises up every single round.
Well, Elevate themselves are going to have to find something different they can do to try and win this round. It's been well locked down by Regal Reserve the majority of this one. Hydron is going to find a kill on the Fractures though, and does that open the floodgates as a flank is potentially developing up towards E? That's where we could see this fight continue. Rita going to look and try and find Crazed. He's just chasing him down. He goes down. Cougars is the only one to answer back. He's going to have to back down himself. That domination could tick in here as Crazed makes his way over. Just wastes some time. Backs on down if he can. Just leading them on a wild goose chase, in all honesty. Backs down, waits for the rest of the team. They play their lives so well. Fracture's the only one to answer back. And sometimes I feel as if, we maybe... Give Elevate it's sometimes the Elevate show, but sometimes they make it look so easy. And that time around though, they do lose the team fight and will have to back on down, and ultimately will need F as well.
It's a nice kill by Hydra. There are little things though, even though they lost the team fight, Crazed when he took that attempt to decap, he put himself on that small little square cover. But the one thing he did that most players probably wouldn't realise to do is that he aimed around the left hand side, not trying to shoot anyone. But just because it puts his character model in a certain position, it means that then Cougars up top with the Lancer can't see him at all, can't hit him with any shots, and can't force him off. And it's just small little things like that that are so impressive in the in the pace of the game. To remember to do it, to be so flawless at doing it, that's the impressive thing.
Well, I don't think any of that's going to matter in this round, though.
Nope.
Yeah, unfortunately for Elevate. In theory, it looked great for them, but Regal Reserve have held on very, very well, won a couple of gunfights in their favour, and suddenly they've won the round, and it's 3 apiece.
And the question is now, does something go down big in the middle? Do Elevate try and...
Elevate have done this quite a lot, haven't they, where they've been in a close game, they just went, well, screw it. Let's put the big boy down in the middle. Zorkos is the first one, though, to have a stab at... Ooh, is he going to do it?
Drop shot. There we go.
Yep.
And then Sniper in the middle, perhaps. Or are we going to see
No,
half?
Elevate are going to be like, right, okay, well, you're going to put that there.
That's half the the incense. Yep. We have seen Sniper in the middle for Elevate on this map, but
in that scenario, though, I agree with the, give yourself more resources to fight with that.
I find it interesting that they're going to go with the incense rather than the shocks, but incense you get kills with, shocks you only get down, so fair enough, I can see it.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, though, it's one of those things that if you are picking this power weapon to go down early on, you have to get a hold of it. Cougars has done just that, and Elevate have to back on down, but they did have the option to possibly counter that Elevate, and it hasn't worked out in their favor. Regal Reserve justify that drop shot pick with a drop shot pick up kill and control of E. There comes the intent a little bit short. That had the potential for a couple of kills there.
Yeah, that really
could have swung the round.
Yeah, a couple of centimeters further forward, and that's a double kill. And that's also the drop shot down and out. Not sure there is a drop shot still remaining, to be honest with you. I think they've swapped out the Lancer. Yeah. Oh no, Cougars still has the drop on his back at least. One shot remaining in that.
Elevate will know that. And that's why we're seeing them take a slow approach to this one.
No, not this again.
What are you doing?
I don't know. There's a certain combination of button presses on the controller that takes you into the overhead. And it's so difficult to just get back to the players, and I don't know...
At TC.
No, oh.
Nicely done by Zorkos.
That is nice.
Flips around the corner. He's had that in his pocket for a while.
I end up stumbling across it, and because it's not frequent enough.
Catches you off guard, does it?
Yeah, and then I'm just like, oh, what have I pressed here?
Well, they still have control of this round here, Regal Reserve, and they still have all that drop shot. That will be coming up once again very, very quickly.
Have a quick look. Oh, can't see it because Cog Team will win. It's
soon.
Soonish.
36. Oh, there comes the other one. Phelps is going to go down, but that shot grenade on the other side of things is going to push Regal Reserve just back a little bit. Craze there waiting, is going to get taken down. Cougars is going to fall after that, though. Hydron was there with the Incend. That's coming up a little bit more often for Elevate on that side of things. Zorgos putting the shots down as the decap eventually does come through, but it is Regal Reserve with the points lead here. And crucially for Elevate, they seem to have rotated around at the right time. They know that drop shot's coming up very, very shortly. Cougars now has the intent for his team. Zorkos and Cola putting down some hellish fire with this pistol. Jack is going to drop. Where are the rest of Elevate? Nowhere to be seen. Oh, I say that. Hydron comes flying in, finds one. Crazed finds another on the backside of things as well, towards the middle of the map. And that's where these shots are coming from. But ultimately, Cougars is the one that's going to walk away with the prize they've all been fighting for. Jack is going to take him down. No, Physics is going to drop, I should say, but Cougars is already backed on down. He has survived, and he has got that drop shot out. And it's Cog Team win conditional for one cap.
Let's have a look at Zorkos. He's going to rotate round. Crazed going to move up to the mid here, but he's going to get met by two members. Actually, Incense is going to get picked up again by Hydron. And they're across these tracks as well, so the push is going to come on. Hydron has got to connect now with these incendiaries. Looking for one. Does manage to get the kill there now. Pushing up on Zorkos. Is he able to get anything else? Does get a couple of shots down. Flashbang is going to come out for him as well. Zorkos stunned up a little bit. The train is going to be there. It's going to cut Zorkos off from the rest of his team. It kills Fractures as well, so this could be actually Elevate coming in. Let's have a look. They're going to try and get the decap. Crimson's going to go in. You can see everyone from Elevate.
That shock is so good.
It's perfectly placed, but Elevate, they're just jumping on it. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, heartbreak for Regal Reserve. They've dominated all the way through that round. They've held on in control. They did everything right. And Elevate still beat them.
It's insane, isn't it? You can see three of them crawling around in the shot grenade, but that's putting your body on the line, literally, right? I mean, you see esport. This is what's happening in esport. They're jumping, they're falling, they're getting taken down by that shot grenade, but it doesn't kill them. So they can do that. It's it's a legitimate play. They can dive on top of that shot grenade, get the decap, get the cap, and lock it in.
If that's an incend, it's a different story potentially.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Let's have a look at what Zorkos is up to now. Gonna lock out that shot grenade.
Who's an advantage here to them? One shot grenade on one side, and that is Regal.
I think
Incend with Elevate.
Got to be Elevate, right? You've got those Incends on 60-second respawn. I mean.
Yeah, got to be accurate with them, though. They do kill, but it's a smaller spread, isn't it? Here come the flashes. Cougars first one there. Hydron straight into the drop shot. He skew whiffed it, though. Physics is going to take him down, and it is dropped down there as well for Cougars to pick up. The shot comes out. It zones Elevate away. Do they know that Cougars got a hold of that one? If they don't, they're about to in a second.
Yeah, I think they should know. They've got to be careful. I mean, you can see Jack now pushing up, trying to get the kill on Cougars just to take that out of play. Isn't able to get it in the end. Physics going to take out Jack, and now attention turns toward that mid street. Is Phelpsy going to be able to rotate through? It looks not, actually. We can see over here it is Zorkos who's got control of that. Let's have a look over on the rails. All of Elevate kind of just having a look down the street. Nothing really they can do there. Trains coming in at the right time, actually, from Zorkos. Zorkos sending the trains in for Regal.
Like the fat controller of Thomas the Tank Engine, is he?
Yep, in his suit. Looking like
his
the penguin.
top hat.
Yep. Oh dear. Good times.
Good times. Elevate now, though. Need to fight back once again. Riga Reserve's control has been long-standing in this round. Drop shot comes through. Cougars finds Phelpsy. He's had that pocketed for quite some time. Crimson's going to drop his teammate, albeit just put a bullet in. Will have to back down, though. That push is just stopped instantly from Elevate. Riga Reserve playing very, very well here. They want to force a round number 9. If you're Elevate, though, you want to get this done. Phelpsy, 0 respawns for him. Reed only has 1 on the other side of things, as does Fractures and Cougars. Reeder's going to drop Jack, though. Elevate needing to do something here. We're in a threat of a round number 9. Cougars backs on down as well. Elevate still have to fight to get this round. That's a good incend, though. Drops 1, kills 1, and the other's going to be cleaned up by Crazed. Here comes the push. Hydra continues it on. E is now in the hands of Elevate. And do they need to push for a 3 cap here? Yes, they do.
Reeder's going to fall as well. That's a shame, actually. If you Reader there, you may even be able to get back to your home hill and just try and get the defense. I think he went for that extension round to the D hill. In the end, gets taken down. It's a good rotation by Elevate, actually, to send 1 backwards. You think at that point, okay, we've got them on the ropes, let's push forward. But instead, they send 1 back to try and absorb that pressure and do so very, very well.
Here come the flashes off spawn, though. Crimson's is going to drop Cougars, but
Kill by
Physics is there. And he finds 2 as well.
Just fly. Just go across the bridge. Get the decap on the E hill.
He doesn't even help his teammate here.
I'm not sure I agree with that play, but let's go with it.
They're doing it eventually.
Yep, it's working out for them. It is working out for them.
They get a hold of the drop shot as well. Elevate will get a hold of F, but they need to do so much here. Crimson's going to get the kill on the Reader. That drop shot's going to be coming into play very, very shortly as well. It needs to be an E push.
There is an E
being decapped. What's going on at 8?
Let's turn around, let's have a look.
It is Zorkos ultimately coming out on top. Jack is there to counteract, but the F push comes in. Zorkos, he's going to survive somehow. Is he going to find anything else? Not quite. Crimson's gets the kill. They've got... How have Riga Reserve lost that round?
That's got to be heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking for Regal.
They just lost every gunfight possible. They had the drop shot. They had control.
It's heartbreaking.
Same, honestly, Crimson, same. I don't even know how to break that down.
I'm telling you, I don't know if it had made much of a difference, but for me, when you see Elevate rotating around to your home hill and you've got that open track back to the bridge,
you could go to E and then you could go to their home hill.
Everyone.
Just go. That's something that Elevate would do. They would say, right, okay, you're investing everything over there. We're going to go in the opposite direction and slow this round down. We're so close to winning. A 1 cap would do. You go to E, you know it's going to be decapped. You'll then go around to their home side because you know they're investing everything at yours. They haven't really died.
You can even send someone through mid street because you know they're probably going to come off spawn to try and attack your, the E hill, the neutral hill. So you can send someone through mid as well and get the flag. There's so many opportunities there.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and we can see what's going on the map as well. So that's a small caveat. But I think if you're Riga Reserve, you're trying and read into that as well.
Physics, they knew about that though because he made the decision not to go for the cap. So that's a decision the team made because you've got an open cap, a drop shot up. And you stay and you try and lancer down for your team. That is, for me at least, the team saying, we're making this decision.
Yeah.
That seems to be a team decision. So perhaps it was a mistake. But if they'd have won the fight, they'd have also been in a very, very good spot to win the round. So you kind of have to look at it like that as well.
Yeah, very true. I think, there's a lot of different options that they could have went with there, but ultimately, Elevate come out on top on that one. That is going to be one as they've written. It just seems as if, as said, even when they make it look hard, they always seem to overcome these teams in Europe. And if they can take that confidence and that gameplay over to the Mexican event, obviously, they could do very, very well. We know Elevate can. Yeah. And just it depends if they can apply everything that they do over here to there as well. With the gunfights as much as they do, they're looking great. But ultimately, for Regal Reserve, that's a disappointment.
It is. It's such a shame because, quite honestly, those last 2 rounds could both have been Regals.
Yeah.
That could have been a 5-3 the opposite way around for them, and that's going to be a bit of a sticky one to take home because it's just it's demoralising, isn't it? When you know you're so close and you've had such a mediocre quarter, all things considered, and then you come up against Elevate, you're about to give them their first map loss, and 2 little decisions cost it for you 2 rounds in a row. So difficult. But District coming up next. 5-4, I think it was last time they played on this.
That was Icebound.
Was that Icebound?
Yeah.
Ignore me then.
District.
It's probably going to be Elevate.
Well, they wouldn't have played because they played. I think as I said it was Icebound and Exhibit. Yeah. So they haven't played each other on that this season. However, we know that Elevate looked fairly good on it every time we've seen them, and I don't think Regal Reserve look fantastic on it. In fairness, but it is Regal Reserve's pick, so maybe that's something to play into. Maybe Regal think they do have what it takes on District to beat Elevate. However, based on that, it just seems, as said, every single time their backs are against the wall Elevate, they just come up with something that gets them rounds, and everyone will be like, you're always calling about how good Elevate are, but I think it is just that the gap between them and the rest of the teams in Europe. They just understand the game more, they understand escalation more, their slaying power is there on top of it.
They've got a lot to rely on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can fall back on many different avenues, and they usually end up
a couple
as
of different things. Anything else you would like to say from Regal Reserve? Maybe some split decision making, as you said.
It's quickness. It's just the speed at which they're doing it. They need to be a bit more snappy. You got to look at that home hill street side as well. There seemed to be a bit of an advantage there at Elevate's way, and I think it's Reader being too defensive. I know he can play. I know he can get the kills on some of the best players in the game. Right, he's a fantastic player, but he plays that 1v spot quite slow, quite methodical, and kind of similar to Breaker in that regard. He holds the route, isn't really trying to gain the route.
Yeah.
Whereas Crimson's is,
as soon as reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah. Crimson's team falls, Crimson's pushing.
Yeah.
Reader doesn't really do that as much, and I like to see that a little bit more often because that's where if you win that fight, you can push through, get the home hill, and that really does put pressure on Elevate there. And that's what Elevate will come up against in Mexico. They will find that there are players on those home streets pushing them very, very hard.
Especially, those home teams in Mexico, the crowd behind them, they're going to be flying. And teams like Elevate, it's going to be like rated R times 100.
Oh, yeah.
And, teams who are probably can bang a little bit better than rated R can as well. So they're going to be teams to look out for, very much so, of course, from the LATAM region. And not just them, the North Americans as well are going to be very, very solid and will be gunning for Elevate at every single point. We're going in this second map, though. Regal Reserve, for all that we said that, they made a couple of mistakes, still a close game. They rule those mistakes out. Suddenly you're looking at a 1-0 lead, and suddenly you're very much in this game. We really didn't give them much of a chance on Asylum first time round, but I think it's, the mark of a good team, as per usual. When we speak about Elevate, maybe not having the best of games, but still walking out as winners.
Yep.
It just says a lot about them.
Yeah, you got to find a way, right? And they always find that way. It's infuriating, to be honest, for everyone, apart from Elevate. But they do find that way. District is an interesting one for Regal. After their game against, was it Rated R on it, where they just kind of got smoked pretty quickly, and then also having that very, very close game against Obey on it as well. We've seen 2 different Regals on this map, I think.
Oh, well, we haven't seen Elevate play it this season, actually.
3 different Regals, apparently. 67% win rate, so they've won it twice.
They won it twice, but the time that they lost it, I mean, that says a lot. They won it twice in a 45% win, round win, I should say.
Yep.
It says a lot. And when they've lost it badly. When they've won it closely.
Very true. And I think if they do win it here, it's going to be close anyway, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, Elevate, can they show us what they've got on District? We haven't seen it this season. Obviously, we'll kick things off, and that's nothing to do with the map. That's just pure gun skill. Oh, God. Everybody's dropping. Suddenly, it's Reader and Cougar's the only 2 left alive. Cougar's trying to set up to try and slow them down, but the Elevate train keeps on rolling. Phelpsy and Jack pushing forward. Cougar's pushes out. Gets punished. Phelpsy takes him down. Has he wasted enough time for the rest of his team to come off the respawns, though? He has, but it's not going to be enough time for them to get towards the hills. That will be a very, very quick round for Elevate, but that can happen in round number 1.
Yeah, it can happen, especially when you lose 3 of them in the space of 3 or 4 seconds.
I mean, not 1 kill going in the favour of Regal Reserve that time round.
Not surprised. I mean, it was a very quick round, but yeah, it happens, as we say. It's one of those things that you kind of have to live with. If you die early in the first round, you're probably going to get triple capped, and that was the case. Let's have a look what goes down. Smoke grenades now going down at the hotel. Regal looking towards the cinema already.
Do it. I like how you're lingering around the middle.
They are lingering, aren't they? They're thinking about it. Definitely so.
Yeah,
There's the drop shot.
There it is.
Straight down, straight away.
Round number 1 placement. Drop shot.
Hey, if there's a time to try things against the best team in Europe, this is the time. This is the time to do it. You've not got much to fight for in terms of points, but what you can do is try and find a way to beat them, right? And perhaps this is it. Let's have a look at this drop shot fight.
Well, it is going to be Cougar's first one there. He's going to get it and get out. Ludicrous from Cougars.
Yep.
Somehow he survived. And he stayed alive.
Yeah, he's out and
in and
gone.
out. There you go.
And I like that actually from Regal. That is a realization that they quite heavily got slapped down at that bandstand fight. So let's just move the fight straight away. We're more comfortable at the cinema. Let's just move it instantly.
Now you've got 2 rounds and a drop shot.
Oh, they've lasted longer than the first round. That's it's an improvement, right? It's small gains. Phelpsy is going to find a down. Drop shot comes out. Phelpsy dives out the way.
He's going to be able to back away as well.
Yep.
Cougar's going to have to waste a second potentially. They're trying to get a hold of A, but not quite. Kept a hold of his Lancer, so no Nasher available for Cougar, so he will be just sitting back, peppering away, which is something you can do on this map. You can sit in green or blue on the other side of things, or your home hill, and just there's plenty of long sight lines. And you can use that Lancer to the greatest of its ability, but now Physics is making the push over towards B. Has the threat of that drop shot behind him in green. So that's why we're seeing Elevate just maybe allowing them a little bit of room here, Regal.
Yep.
Seeing they've got control of the bandstand. Of course, that drop shot will come back up again, but quite some time to go yet before that does happen. Flashes and whatnot come through, though, and that's a free capture over towards B. But what are Elevate doing with the rest of their resources? They're pushing them over towards A, and they're being disintegrated by Cougars in that drop shot. They were waiting for that one to come out. Regal Reserve come out on top of this exchange.
Yep, I love that crossfire there from Fractures as well. Just holds the mid route, knows that Elevate, they have to back out through mid, so it's exactly where you want it to be. And now we've got a flank from Physics coming in as well. Crazed has managed to down Jack, so that means Physics should be able to get hold of this, but he's fluffed the shot actually, Jack. Oh, he's not going to get let up. That's embarrassing actually if you're Regal.
Yeah, you clean that one up and it's suddenly an easier fight, and that kill on Crazed is even more important. Jack's still going down though.
Yep.
Physics is going to find 2, but ultimately it would have been nice to kill him maybe about 10 seconds earlier.
Sure. I mean, he's in the end, Physics, he kind of made up for it. He missed 1 kill but got 2 back in return. Did die himself, but yeah, it's enough to keep your team in it and gaining points. And you do see Regal, they do have this double cap, so gaining 2 points. Reader, got to check your angles before you're running out there. That's a pretty lax depth.
Now Hydron has the flank on them. He cleans up Cougars, who was very, very weak. Is he going to get the second as well? Nicely done from Hydron.
And just
the
like
elimination was threatening, but Crazed now has the drop shot. This lead is catchable off a 2-cap. Dog team win in 36 seconds, so that's an Elevate round win. They've got a drop shot, and they've got control. The cross is set up. They probably have control over towards. They've got somebody in green. Not quite. They don't need to. They know they can sit back. They know they have to push out. If you're Regal, good shots by Hydron once again. He's been on a bit of a tear this past couple of seconds.
Yep.
He's ran through them. And Elevate have ran through Regal 2-0 now. Looking so good for Elevate. As said, that even when they're behind. I'm just at the point now where I'm like, oh, okay, Elevate are down 100 points, probably still going to win the round.
I have to say, though, I honestly think that was more mistakes from Regal than it was good play by Elevate.
But they punish them, don't they?
Oh, they punish, yeah. But without that initial death, and honestly, one of the first things you kind of learn in comp gears is check your corners, because people like to hide behind corners.
Just any shooter, really.
It is, yeah. But I mean, on Gears third person, it comes into more play, right? Yeah. If you're peeking around corners in a FPS, you can die. You can get shot back at. Gears, you don't have that luxury, so it honestly does. It comes into account quite a lot, and it's something you learn very early on because you die to it so often. You kind of, it gets ingrained into you. So it's kind of sad to see players still getting caught out so easily.
Yep. One of those, though, isn't it?
It is.
It's late on in the round. You're pushing forward. Just don't expect him to beat there. Cougars has done well here, though. Gets the angle on the Crazed. We'll pick him up and use him as a meat shield as well. Jack will drop.
I like this play.
Fight and drop shot. Once again, goes over towards Regal.
The meat shield's huge there for Cougars. It's so difficult to push into that corner when someone's holding that bag there. So, yep, well played by Cougars. Made the right decision. Some players would have just cleaned that up, right? But using everything at his disposal, and now
Drop shot's going to come in here.
you think so? Maybe a pistol if he's
There's
not
at least
careful.
one. No, he only connects with it, but where's the rest of the team to help him clean that one up? Felsi and Co will be weak off the back of that one, but they hold on. Does he use this again to maybe seal the deal? Oh, I tell you what, Phelpsy's just said sod it and sprinted at him. He hasn't landed anything with that drop shot.
And that's actually like 2 drop shots now in a row, right? That realistic. I mean, they got a double kill actually on their home hill, but 3 shots out of the 4 have kind of whiffed. Now Cougars making the push.
He's going to get caught by somebody else here. Surely Crazed is going to elongate this fight. Jack comes in, helps him out. A will go back on the control of Elevate. And as said, backs against the wall. More weapons that can blow you up very, very quickly on the side of Regal, and it doesn't matter. It just does not matter at times.
Bad position here from Zorkos. He's got to find his way out. He needs a team to support. Maybe the 1v1 push is where it goes. Good back A actually. Gets the second. Yep, that's lovely. Fractures may be able to come and save him here. Gets the revive. Gonna get taken out is Zorkos, but Fractures returns the kill. And now good crossfire coming in from Regal Reserve as they shut down Hydra and they shut down Jackfex. And a quick rotation here from Fractures might be able to secure an A-hill, but he's going to get met off spawn by Crazed. Crazed with that spawn protection.
I like that.
It is going to run out. I like the play by Fractures as well, you're right. Just delays a second, just so Crazed turns his back on him, and now Phelpsy trying to get a toe in. Does for a second. Crimson's gets a touch as well. Fracture's going to jump out just to get the angle.
Get the angle up top. The shot's coming in. Zorkos and Cougars combining well. This will be around for Regal Reserve. There's no way that Elevate get back in this time. They haven't sent anyone on the overextension. Regal Reserve get on the board here in map number 2. Nicely done. In all fairness, I think, you know, a couple of moments where they needed to clutch up, and they did. Outslaying Elevate here as well. But I mean, that just tells the story, doesn't it? Elevate, even though they are being outslayed to a point, and pretty, I don't want to say convincing, not heavily, maybe more like comfortably. It's one of those where they've just clutched up. Regal Reserve could find themselves in a very different scoreline here had a couple of things went their way.
Yep, definitely so. Shot grenade going to come in both sides now, so this is just to help support that cinema fight. Expected to get thrown down in the back behind the statue for kind of both teams, just to delay things.
Yep. Who places it better, though? Not the question.
And also, you know, who uses it as well. Some teams will take it over there, bait it out, try and get the other team to waste theirs before they will.
Jack's got it on the side.
Deploy their own.
On the Earth Elevator, I should say. Here it comes, straight under the drop shot, because they know that they've been pushing that. Jack is actually going to drop Crazed and Phelpsy as well. Those are not the ideal situation, but he has kept them off that drop shot this time round, but maybe only momentarily. Zorkos finds it. Physics, Cougars read it. All find kills. Phelpsy's the only one to answer back. Hydron is there to help as well. Is that Cougars pushing forward with the drop shot, though? And ultimately, it is wasted. However, Regal Reserve have won the fight. They will get a hold of B. So ultimately, they get what they came for. However, have they actually lost out on that drop shot? I think they have. Yep, it's gone. So maybe would have had a little bit more to play with there through had they, or had Cougars maybe been a little bit more smart with their life.
Yep. Talking of lives, they have got Crimsons down onto 1 and Phelpsy as well, so potential, just a couple more kills here, and they lock him out for the round. But probably not going to happen. No one Elevate. They'll be very careful with their lives, and they will send the right people to the right places. Jack's going to push up now, trying to fight off Fractures. You see the support as well coming in from Crazed.
Good flash.
Yep, Fracture's going to back out. And they've done well here. Physics just supporting with that Lancer, just trying to delay the push here, and actually Jack's going to go down. Fractures has just bullied Zorkos right in the back of the head, to be honest with you. But it's not going to matter too much. Reader's going to fall. Hasn't had any support there, so maybe a bit of a brazen push, bit too aggressive there.
Regal have done well here, though.
Yeah, they're
I
doing
like what
well.
they're doing. You know, they're backing on down. They're using their Lancer fire well. Yes, okay, they've lost B, but they've got a 50-point lead here. It's 1 win condition off 1 cap is 150 seconds. Elevate looking like they are going to actually get a hold of B here. Fracture's pushing forward, trying to help his teammate out, but Physics and Co will drop down. Reader and Cougars are here, though, to try and fight back. They get their teammates up, and their push is going to come through here. We can see Elevate are trying to set up for this drop shot to come back through. Jack is going to find Zorkos. It's going to come down to these fights. You feel Phelpsy's going down, as does Fractures. Jack's going to find Physics, though. Regal Reserve will have to back on down, and Jack's going to find another. He's come around the flank. The last guy there is going to be Cougars. He drops 2.
Look at your minimap as well. You can see Hydro taking bandstand already. He's trying to sneak round and get that A-hill. And that just means that Regal, they have to put people down towards their A-hill to make sure that it doesn't get decapped, make sure they don't get triple capped. And that's just smart play by Elevate. They realized they were winning. They didn't need Hydro in that fight, so rotate him quickly. In the end, he drops back to his home hill just to support that. But yeah, this drop shot. I'm actually surprised that Craze is moving from there, but
yeah, his team are
just
back
trying to get
down
a bit of
from
a different
C.
angle.
Yeah, they're luring them into the trap.
He just bounced that straight off the... Oh, he's almost killed himself. Phelpsy headed that one back towards him. There's Fractures.
That's went horribly in the end, but a Swarm Domination ticking up there. As said, one of those drop shots flailing away there, and that was well lined up for him, in all fairness. I like what they did. They backed down from C because they knew that was possible. But they've lost B. Committed a lot towards C. Phelpsy will find Reader, though, and this transition over towards B will have to be quick. The Swarm Wing condition is still there. However, you feel as if it's about to take over towards Elevate. They should be able to get a hold of B. Yep. There's one guy left. I think it's actually just a shock grenade that's went down at the B. Maybe to prolong the inevitable. Phelpsy in Crimsons, though. 0 respawns apiece. Is it going to matter? I don't think it is. They're going to get there in time, but here comes the drop shot. That would take down Reader. There's one more kill needing to come in here. The domination is not denied in time, though. The victory slides on through. 3-1 Elevate now.
This is looking a little bit more like the Elevate we know.
Yeah, 100%.
They're playing this a little bit
that was
more
a
careful.
Bit like more aggressive. Well, you say careful, but they won the gunfights as well on top of that as well.
Yeah, aggression definitely, but careful aggression, right? They're not just flying in. They're making sure the fights are winnable before they do so. They're sending the resources to the right places when they need to do so as well. They're defending well. Yep, a little bit of mishap with that drop shot, but people crossing over in front of each other. It happens every now and again. Luckily that the drop shot didn't fall on their feet and it managed to bounce far enough away that...
Imagine if it exploded on contact.
It's, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, that's one of the problems we saw with the boom shot, right? Was players hitting each other in the back occasionally. Especially across Gears 4, it was a lot more utilised.
Yeah, boom shot was pretty strong last year.
Yeah. Drop shot I don't think is as strong. But I also think on these...
Insane last year.
I kind of feel like these maps also kind of lend themselves to the drop shot a bit more.
Bit more cover, you have to get it over, isn't it? It's one of those things. But here we go. The fight for the drop shot continues once again. That's a late shock in. I feel as if that's from the Elevate side of things. Chris just rolled into the other one, though. That came in from Cougars. It will not matter, though. His team are there to pick him up. I say that. Maybe a little bit too late. Fractures. He's actually going to spoil the party here. He's going to roll on through, kill a Hydro, and that was just waiting to be picked up by one of his teammates who were winning that fight. But Fractures eventually will go down. And actually, the worst thing here for Regal Reserve is the fact that Phelpsy got out with that drop shot.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? I mean, all of the kills that went down for Fractures, and it just wasn't on the one person that he really needed to get the kills upon. But he has, he wasted a lot of time there, did Fractures, for his team. And now Jack in a little bit of a bad position. Maybe going to get a kill out of this one. He's got to be careful. Physics going to fall. Probably will get cleaned up with that Lancer Fire coming in. Cougar's not able to get over to get the revive. Cougar's got to be careful as well. He's going to get shot by that drop shot. There it is.
Phelpsy still with a shot on that as well. Pistol is out to try and push them away. I feel as if he's got something left in that drop shot. He is the only thing that Elevate don't have at this point.
He did pull it out just a second ago, so I'm guessing he probably does have one shot left. Yep, he does indeed. Yep. It should be an easy kill actually for him if he wants to take it over the top of the little statue over there.
Isn't it?
It's probably best just held on to be honest. They've got the point lead, then they don't really need to cap E.
Oh, he's tried to go for the shot on the physics.
Yeah, not the best use in my opinion. I think you'd want to wait now.
Would have been great to have this now, wouldn't it? As Regal trying to push through the bandstand, but really good pistol shots. The rest of the team coming here as well. Phelpsy somehow going to kick us that new.
And that's the new damage at range coming in. That's.
I mean, he must have been very, very weak in fairness, but.
Yep. Yeah. You think so?
It was that first shot. He really did get a nice spread on that one. Horizon Co, though, starting to walk through Regal Reserve. This one could be over pretty quickly. Reader going to have to back on down. He's going to have to play his life. He's going to have to find something here. Finds nothing but the respawn queue. Zorkos is there. Back off it. Phelpsy, though, will take him down. Is there any room for Fractures to get in here? There is about. But he will just be another lamb to the slaughter. That is a 4-1 to Elevate now. More like it from them.
Yeah,
Regal Reserve struggling to get in this game. There's been opportunities for them, but they're just being shut down every single time by Elevate.
Yep. The shock placements haven't been fantastic either from either team, to be honest with you, but more so from Regal. I don't really feel like they're getting much from it. And Elevate, although they are being reactive with their shock, they're putting it in a position that basically traps Regal into that
I love the one they had last round. It was just past the drop shot, but still, it was just outside of it. it was just outside the drop shot, but on the Regal side.
Yep.
And every time they tried to push through, whereas the other side of things, where they put it, was just past the middle statue. And suddenly, Elevate can just slip on in.
Sneak on through.
Yeah, and they're in a really good spot to try and pick that one up. But we won't have to worry about that anymore, as they have now been locked for this round. Elevate, confident in their ability to try and get a hold of this drop shot without any utility. Can Regal Reserve stay the same, though? It's going to come down to that once again. Of course, we're past the halfway point, so lives have been reset. Cougars, ever more the lowest amount of respawns on the map every single time. The only thing we've got to work with here is flash grenades. Who's going to be able to see first is the question. Crazed and Co, though, going to go down here. That's 3 kills going in the favour of Regal Reserve this time around. They will get the drop shot cleanly. Back on down. They don't have D, but they will make their move over towards E. Over towards F even, I should say.
That was such a quick rotation from Hydron.
It was so nice. I thought he was actually going to rotate through to green and maybe try and push for the home hill, but...
I thought it was as well, but decided to try and get behind them. Crimsons does get one, actually. Fracture's going to get a kill. Cougars does pick up Crimsons in the end. But the bandstand is in control of Elevator now. We see Phelpsy trying to push through. If he gets the kill on Reader, this opens up the whole side of the map. Jackson help as well. You can see Regal just crossing down from the top, but Reader honestly needs to try and get himself out of there. Cougar's going to help Elevate along, gets the kill on Reader.
Thanks, mate.
Yep. What a waste of a drop shot that was. After all that.
It's one of those where it's risk v reward. That time around, he gets rewarded with 1 kill at the Phelpsy, which is going to stop the capture coming through on E, but the deep cap a little bit late to stop that. Craze trying to push through, will not be able to do so. A really nice fight from Regal Reserve, well coordinated, but Elevate bouncing back here. Hydron and Jack ready to push on through. Jack goes though as Hydron backs on down. The pressure comes in. Here comes Crimson's 2. Well worked by Elevate. Just these team fights that just seem to have a better understanding of what their teammates are doing. They clean it up. They get a hold of E. They will back on down and get a hold of F unless Read It can do something special here. Crazed, as you can see, just waiting on his teammates coming. A 2v1 is better than a 1v1. But in 10, here come Regal Reserve. It's been one of those fights where maybe Crazed, if he pushes this one, they're in a better spot. Maybe just tries to find the kill. Eventually will do so. Now Zorkos waiting for some backup from the rest of his team. It is here a little bit, but Elevate should be able to get a hold of their home hill eventually here.
Yep, they should. Let's have a look at the overtime. Okay, so 5 seconds now on the drop shot.
This Crazed's going to get caught. Good shots from Zorkos. He will get caught, but coming around behind is Crimsons.
You've got to ask the question,
where's Crimson's come from?
Regal? I mean, yeah, like, I know 2 of them, 3 of them died on the home, but you still think perhaps someone else was over there trying to help defend that drop shot pickup, and now that is going to go over to Phelpsy. And this is going to make it so hard now for Regal to win this. I know they're 50 points up, but 1 drop shot, 2 drop shots, that'll be it for Regal. Good shot there by Phelpsy, full spread straight into the face of Cougars. He's going to back out, keep that drop shot alive.
For all that is said and done, though, Regal Reserve are the ones with the win condition of 40 seconds here. And honestly, it's getting to that point where a 1 cap will do.
Yeah.
There goes the flash, though. And here come Elevate. Phelpsy maybe just trying to open this one up. That's overextended. I thought it was anyway. Whistled past Reader, but eventually will take him down. Swarm win condition of a domination coming up there for a second, but DNF now going over towards Elevate. They've already extended towards the home hill of Regal. Physics in a bad spot, and the rest of his team are here with him as well, also in that bad spot. Zorkos will get caught slipping. The domination ticking on through. Reader may be able to get there. Is it for anything but a death? No, it is not. Elevate take this one 5-1 in map number 2. And overall, in the end, a comfortable game. They were pushed somewhat to the limit in map number 1 by Regal, but Elevate ever so comfortable on District. A big performance across the board. In the end, I mean, the first 2 rounds they were getting outslayed. That scoreboard at the end told you a different story.
Yeah.
5-1 in the end on District, I said. 5-3 on Asylum. They will end the EU Pro League winter quarter flawless.
Absolutely so.
Not a map. Not a single map.
It's a 12-0 they've gone.
Yep.
Across 6 weeks of play.
It's pretty good.
Yep, that's exactly what you want. If you're that number 1 seed. Well, they weren't even the number 1 seed, sorry. That number 1 team. They were actually the 2nd seed. You want to go at 12-0, especially going into the major. That's going to be fantastic for them. Good seeding. They're going to have, a fantastic run-up. You got to say though, I think it was Crimson's, Jack and Hydra, all sub 10 deaths through 6 rounds of play.
They just know how to play their lives
They've
so
not
on top of everything.
You've died basically once a round, and that's the impressive thing for me, is that teams just can't find kills on them. Yes, you can slay, you can fight, you can trade back and forth, but if you can't get enough kills to make a significant impact on the map, it's so difficult to play.
And I think the thing is with Gears of War is that you will often see players sort of say to themselves, right, okay, because of the mechanics of the game, you can pull off these 1v3s, these 1v2s, etc., etc. And they will put themselves in that position where they don't necessarily have to win them, but they're putting themselves in saying, right, okay, I'm going to go out and win that. Rather than sometimes you'll see Elevate. And, the prime example there was then on the home hill. There was one member of Regal Reserve holding for the home hill. A guy like Crazed is there, waiting for the rest of his team to come and back him up. They back him up. Eventually, they get a hold of it. They're never taking situations that are not in their favour.
Yep.
And that's ultimately why they have so many low deaths. They're just waiting. They're just like, well, my teammate's coming off respawn. That's about 5 yards away.
Give it 3 seconds.
So, of course, I'm just going to wait. But ultimately, that's what's led to this. Elevate at the very tippity top of the standings. Not one map loss. A round difference of plus 33.
It's so clean, isn't it? It's beautiful.
That's an incredible, incredible season from themselves. Coming in second up, heading into Mexico, will be rated R with 2 losses. The only losses to Elevate, of course. A couple of games that were close between themselves. And, they are definitively the second best team here, 100%. And they have the potential to try and upset some teams in Mexico. I'm sure they will be. Their Regal Reserve and Obey Alliance are both with teams to have work on. Regal Reserve's only wins are against Obey, and they've been close games as well. I think, a couple of round difference here and there. And that's maybe Obey in third place. Ultimately, the other rounds have went over towards Regal, so count that in their favour. There was a minus 16 round difference, but as I said, Obey Alliance sitting at the bottom there with only 1 map win, which did come today against Rated R. Still a lot of work to do for these bottom 2 teams, I feel.
A lot of work, but good to see that every team at least got a single map win, right? I mean,
thank God.
Yeah, you'd hate to see the 0 down there at the bottom. It means they are competing, they're close. The round difference could be worse if you're Obey. It's not out of the region. Minus 30, yes, you got peppered across the season, but you've kept some maps close, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, one good event, that changes things for both of these teams. We'll see how they go in Mexico. Obviously, commiserations to Obey. It's a shame. They've been performing well, in my opinion.
On occasion, they've had like glimmers, but it just comes down to those clutch moments, doesn't it?
Yep.
And that's what's made the difference. That is really what's made the difference for them. And it's hard. It's very, very hard for them to take. I'm sure. We've spoken to some of them during the season. We're trying to work on things. We believe we have the talent. We think they do as well. But they need to make something work in Mexico, I think.
Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, that's what all these teams are kind of gearing up and playing this for, is to get the best seeding, to get the the most money as well to come out of this. Yeah. Obviously, Elevate locking in a lot of money there, and actually for all the teams, it is just about preparation for the majors, putting it out on the big stage, 100%. Seeing how they can perform out there. In the end, Elevate looking like the best team coming in, at least from Europe.
No surprises. Honestly, it's what we expected in the winter quarter. Guys, thank you very much for joining us for another 6 weeks of Gears Pro League. You've been here the whole time. We haven't even had Toby sub in or anything this time around.
Don't tell him.
Yeah, well, he can watch and then he would find out, though, wouldn't he?
It's true.
Yeah, very true. But we'll give him a couple of ones next season, though. We love Toby, yeah. But I just first and foremost thank you to yourself for coming on. Of course,
thanks for having me.
Thank you to all the support online. We see every single comment saying how much you enjoy the show here. Honestly, we do for you guys. We do for the players as well. The stats and everything that we put up. A big shout out to Matt, our production guy here as well. It's just a small team that run this one here, but I feel as if we put a lot into this show and we enjoy it greatly. But good luck in Mexico, pal. Not just the European teams. Yeah, go on, mate.
I'm gonna need it.
Big major for yourself. Hey. You don't have me by your side.
I'm just out there cheering the boys on, right? Cheering the teams on.
Yeah, you're gonna be in there. I want EU's finest flares. Elevate flares. Red flares in the crowd. That's what I want to see from you, Fury. And anything less, I will be highly disappointed.
I'll try.
But that will be the end of the winter quarter. EU's finest, formally. Now Elevate will walk in as #1 seed going into Mexico. Can they do something different than they did in San Diego? Find out this weekend. We'll see you guys for the next Pro League in around 3 weeks' time. We'll get them confirmed. Anyway, you'll see us here normal time every single Monday. We'll catch you then.